Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Simple Understanding. Today, we're summarizing The Lean Startup, how today's entrepreneurs use continuous innovation to create radically successful businesses by Ries. This book is about one important question. Why do many startups fail even when they have smart founders, strong technology, passionate teams, and enough funding? Ries argues that the biggest startup failure is not always bad execution. Sometimes the team executes very well, but they execute the wrong idea. They build a product nobody really wants. They spend months or years developing features before testing whether customers actually care. They confuse activity with progress, and by the time they learn the truth, they have already wasted money, time, energy, and trust. The failure in many startups is that founders fall in love with their idea before validating it with real customers. They write a business plan, they build a product, they hire a team, they raise money, they launch, then they discover the market does not respond the way they expected. That is painful. But the real problem is not only that the idea was wrong, the real problem is that the startup waited too long to learn. In traditional business thinking, a company tries to plan everything in advance. It studies the market, writes projections, builds the product, and launches when everything is ready. But startups operate under extreme uncertainty. They do not know for sure who the customer is. They do not know which features matter. They do not know the right price. They do not know the right channel. They do not know if the problem is painful enough. So if they behave like a large, stable company, they burn resources before learning the truth. Ries uses his own experience at IMVU to explain this. The team built technology they believed customers would love, but early customer behavior showed that many of their assumptions were wrong. The lesson was clear. Progress in a startup is not measured by how much code you write or how many features you release. Progress is measured by validated learning. The biggest mistake is building in big batches before testing assumptions. Many startups make decisions like this. Let's build the full app before showing to users. Let's add more features before launch. Let's wait until the design is perfect. Let's spend heavily on marketing before we know if retention works. These decisions feel professional, but they are risky. Because every extra feature built before validation is a bet. Every month spent without customer feedback increases risk. Every dollar spent before learning may be wasted. This is similar to supply chain overproduction. In manufacturing, if a factory produces thousands of units before knowing real demand, it may end up with excess inventory. In startups, features are inventory. Unvalidated code is inventory. Marketing campaigns are inventory. Business plans are inventory. If the customers do not want the product, all that inventory becomes waste. This is the startup version of lean thinking. Do not produce what the customer does not value. Do not scale what has not been validated. Do not optimize a process before proving that the product should exist. The framework is called the lean startup. The core idea is the build, measure, learn feedback loop. First, build the smallest version of the product that allows you to test a real assumption. Second, measure how customers actually behave. Third, learn whether to continue, change direction, or stop. The Lean Startup official methodology describes build, measure, learn as a core feedback loop, beginning with identifying the problem and developing a minimum viable product to start learning as quickly as possible. This leads to another major concept, the MVP, or minimum viable product. An MVP is not a cheap, low-quality product. An MVP is the smallest experiment that helps you learn something important about the customer. The goal is not to impress everyone. The goal is to test the riskiest assumption as fast as possible. If the assumption is true, you continue. If the assumption is false, you adjust. This is where another key idea appears: pivot or persevere. If the data shows that the strategy is working, you persevere. If the data shows that the strategy is not working, you pivot. A pivot does not mean failure. A pivot means structured learning. It means keeping what you learned and changing the strategy. The first example is IMVU. Ries and his team built a product based on assumptions about how users would interact socially online, but when real customers used the product, their behavior did not match the team's expectations. This taught Ries that startups need evidence from real users, not just internal confidence. Modern parallel. Imagine an AI startup building a complex productivity tool. The team spends 6 months creating dashboards, automation, templates, and integrations, but when users try it, they only care about one simple feature: summarizing meetings accurately. A lean startup team would not build the whole platform first. It would test the key behavior early, learn what users actually value, and then build around that. The second example is Dropbox. Dropbox is often used as an MVP example because the company used an early demo video to test whether people understood and wanted the product before fully scaling development. Instead of waiting to build everything perfectly, the team tested demand early. Modern parallel. A SaaS founder today might create a landing page, a short demo, or a clickable prototype before building the full system. If no one signs up, that's useful learning. It prevents waste. The third example is Zappos. Zappos is a classic example of testing demand before building a full operation. Instead of immediately investing in warehouses and inventory, the founder tested whether people would buy shoes online by manually fulfilling early orders. Modern parallel. An e-commerce entrepreneur today should not always start by buying huge inventory, renting a warehouse, and hiring a full team. They can test demand with a small catalog, pre-orders, limited drops, or manual fulfillment. The lesson is simple. Prove demand before scaling supply. The fourth example is Amazon. Amazon is a strong modern example of experimentation at scale. It constantly tests customer experience, pricing, logistics, product placement, delivery promises, and digital features. But here's the key point. Lean startup is not only for small startups. Big companies also need experiments. A big company can waste millions by launching a product nobody wants. A small company may waste thousands. The size is different, but the principle is the same. Test before scaling. The fifth example is Tesla. Tesla shows both the power and danger of bold innovation. Building electric vehicles requires product design, software, batteries, factories, supply chain, charging infrastructure, and customer trust. A lean startup mindset would ask, what assumption are we testing? Is customer demand real? Can we produce at the right cost? Can we scale quality? Can we deliver profitably? The mistake would be scaling too fast before the operational model is stable. The sixth example is Alibaba and digital marketplaces. In marketplaces, the company must validate both sides, sellers and buyers. If there are buyers but no sellers, the marketplace fails. If there are sellers but no buyers, the marketplace fails. Lean startup thinking helps marketplace founders test liquidity, trust, delivery, payments, and user behavior before expanding too fast. This book matters because many people think entrepreneurship is about one big idea, but Ries says entrepreneurship is really about learning under uncertainty. A startup is not just a smaller version of a big company. A startup is a temporary organization searching for a repeatable and scalable business model. That means the job is not only to build. The job is to learn what should be built. This is why vanity metrics are dangerous. Vanity metrics are numbers that look good but do not prove real progress. For example, total downloads may look good, but if users never return, the product is weak. Website visits may look good, but if no one buys, the business model is weak. Social media followers may look good, but if retention and revenue are poor, the startup is not healthy. Lean startup focuses on actionable metrics, metrics that help you make decisions. Retention, conversion, repeat purchase, customer acquisition cost, lifetime value, activation, churn. These numbers tell you whether the business is actually working. Key takeaways. First, startups fail when they build too much before learning what customers really want. Second, the goal is not just to launch, the goal is to learn as fast as possible. Third, an MVP is not a low-quality product. It is the smallest experiment that validates a key assumption. Fourth, build, measure, learn helps teams reduce waste and make better decisions. Fifth, validated learning is more important than vanity metrics. Sixth, a pivot is not failure. It is a structured change based on evidence. Seventh, do not scale a product, supply chain, or marketing engine before proving demand and retention. Eighth, lean startup applies beyond software. It applies to e-commerce, manufacturing, services, AI products, logistics, marketplaces, and corporate innovation. The lean startup teaches a powerful lesson. Do not waste your best energy building something customers do not want. The real question is not, can we build this? The better question is, should we build this and what evidence proves it? Because in startups, the most dangerous waste is not unused materials. The most dangerous waste is building the wrong thing beautifully. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to Simple Understanding, and ring the bell for more practical business and supply chain lessons. And tell me in the comments, which book should we summarize next?